Hey guys, this is Dezi with OXFiles down here at Outdoor Extreme Orlando. Today we're going to talk about a couple of the things that Mr. Gator and myself love, and that would be Magfed paintball. In specific, what we're discussing is the brand new EMF200. This has recently came out in the past couple of weeks. This is the brainchild of Jack Wood over at Planet Eclipse. This is version 2 of the original version, the EMF100. This has been one of my favorite workhorses. The difference between the two is that this one in particular has a hopper conversion kit for it, and the 200 is a Magfed only version. A little bit of the differences here you see as I start painting around on them is you have one where the ASA is down at the bottom with the Pops ASA on the 100. However, on the 200, there's no ASA down by the grip. Instead, they have moved it to the very back where we'll get into the stock section in just a minute. This one here, the 100, was made with mostly a polymer with metal internals. But again, the whole thing was designed to be able to switch back and forth between a hopper or a Magfed. And then these crazy cool company name Inception Designs got a hold of this and worked with Planet to design the different bodies and barrel kits and then inserts for this marker in particular. However, now Planet said, okay, we're going to make version 2. So that is what we are here to discuss. It's primarily the brand new EMF200. A couple of the parts to go over with this particular marker is first your front rail grip. A lot of this body in difference between the original version versus the newer version is this is made out of all metal aluminum. Very few parts on this are a polymer, but it would be in areas that you would normally find a polymer setting on your real steel, if you will. The rail at the top here is going to be your M-LOK rail system. And then across the top of it here will be your Picatinny rail to be able to put your sights, whether it's irons, whether it's in genuine scope, because with these style of marker, you are going to be reaching out and touching someone for sure. Start making our way down towards the bottom. You'll see with our difference, with this flared magwell, makes it very, very, very easy being able to get your mag in there while fumbling at the point of in engagement. It can get a little crazy. You also have your selector switch here, which on the older version before, it was a safety on or safety off. Now you have real deal stuff. You also have your AR grips, and these are all interchangeable. And to me, just makes it more and more customizable abilities for you. There are definitely other rail systems that you'll be able to purchase that can, if you want to have a long marker, a shorty, you want something more compact, there are the different rails that you are able to purchase through various companies. But as we work our way to the back, now we're getting to another version that is the Pops ASA. So instead, you don't have to rack this, you don't have to do any of that. This very simply, to engage the air, there's a little finger well here, take and pull back, and that is going to be engaging your air directly to the back of the stock here. Press the button, the air pressure, back pressure there will disengage the air, bleeds the air, and it's very, very easy to remove your air tank from there. One of the neat parts on this is the upgraded bolt system. I'm going to take a second and cut over to another version of a marker. Now this other space marker here, yet that from us Magfed players look at is this is your hopper markers, right? This isn't a Magfed one, this is an electronic hopper, this is a tournament level high-end marker by Planet Eclipse. For their way for you to be able to remove the bolt system in here, they make it as easy as possible while removing these. This is the entire drivetrain of this machine. You can notice this is a nice, very air efficient marker. This is called the 180R. With the Magfed version, however, things are a little bit different. Because the stock and your regulator adjustment, which is in the back here, all of this is coming together as one piece. There's no way for you to just pop and slide the thing out. So instead, what we're doing here is you have a little top set screw. You unscrew it. And your entire drivetrain has now come out. Something very similar that you'll see here is that this bolt is very similar to the 180. I believe this is going to be the R5 style bolt that's inside of here. It comes with a soft tip striker on the front already, but you can see how the whole action of your ASA working here. This makes it very nice to be able to take this apart. And you're actually getting into now the area of your regulator system. These are areas that you guys need to be maintaining. If you are unsure on how to maintain your regulator system, please come talk to us at Outdoor Extreme. We'll be more than happy to be able to service your marker for you. We can teach you a little bit about it as well if you're willing to hear. But if not, that's all right. We can always take care of that for you and save you some time. So as this goes back together, it's removing it from the back end here. We're going to focus here, though, is a quick basic maintenance here on this marker. It's called a spool valve marker. Your striker tip, your can, your spool guide, and then the little green part that's inside of here, that is going to be your spool that's inside of there. So, main areas where you're going to find a lot of dirt, debris, and mischief that get up inside of your marker. If you play exactly the way I play, you're going to have to be cleaning this thing regularly because you're down in the gritty and you're going to be getting inherently that grit and grime, whether it's in your mags, whether it's in your marker, in the nature of it all. These are the areas you're going to be wanting to clean. Inside of here, don't know if you're able to see this, there's a little O-ring that sits inside of this can. Now, as it sits inside of the can, this is what's guiding your striker, okay? As your striker comes forward, it is sliding on that O-ring inside of here, okay? It reaches, once it stops, it marries up with this one, and then the bolt, again, is reset. However, even in your bags of paint, the paint is super clean. However, there are microscopic dust particles that will develop on here. So you definitely want to make sure that you are cleaning any of the grime, sand, butt, whatever out of there so that it is not scoring up your striker tip. On your striker tip, there's another O-ring that's here. And this O-ring here, you want to make sure is also clean as can be. These two areas are where you are going to find the most amount of dirt and grime buildup on your marker. Once you've cleaned those off, we recommend you use the Planet Eclipse grease that comes with every one of your brand new markers. We recommend then while you're also working and taking care of your equipment, you have your Planet Eclipse key set that comes with every brand new Planet Eclipse marker you purchase. Wipe her down nice and clean, ensure these. You won't have to get inside of here into your spool valve after many shots. I believe it's something along the lines of 20,000 shots is where then you're gonna want to start replacing internal O-rings inside of your spool valve. But you have plenty of shots there, and if you've gone through 20,000 first strike rounds, well, I want to be able to come to your house for a party because I'm sure you like to hang out. So very simply, your entire regulator system as well as your bolt system, spool valve. You'll see that the two makes a little horseshoe, slides in beautifully together. Your set screw goes right in the top, right on in. Money, dude. Money. All right. So one of the things I want to show you is that the barrel system that is with the Planet Eclipse EMF200. Now, in the other settings here with the original one, this was done with the polymer locks. Pull it apart, and you had access being able to swap out your barrel, okay? However, in this setting now with the new version where we're going with all aluminum parts and stuff, it's much more difficult to be able to get to this barrel now at looks. But very simply, you take your Planet Eclipse Allen key here. We're going to pop that sucker out. There are 2 set screws and sit right inside here. Very simply, what we're doing is just loosen them up, as those 2 screws are just simply pinching onto the frame. So you don't need to put your full water boy strength into this, because as soon as it's loose, it's loose. And you'll be able to see right here where it's actually on this collar that's holding together. Now, what I'll be doing with mine is I'm going to be getting mine sent off to a buddy of mine who's going to be doing an anode. And I'm going to be getting all of these metal parts on this marker for my personal one. Gold, baby. Gold. I don't know why. I mean, it looks like a Call of Duty skin, and why not? Who doesn't want to use the golden gun? All right, maybe Mr. Gator doesn't want to use the golden gun. But I'm all about loud and proud. Auto-conquer threading barrel, just like your other standard Planet Eclipse barrels, except now this is where we get into fun stuff. So now that you guys have jumped on Funtown train, we're going to go over your inserts here. This comes with a stock 689 barrel sleeve. This is for fitting those your round ball paint, as well as your first strike rounds, making sure that the ball is fitted perfect to there. Later, we'll be doing a video about how to properly size your paint on inserts. Look out for that video next. But it is a 2-piece barrel system. Well, 3-piece, really. This here is where the sleeve is actually sitting inside of. Okay? They have a barrel sleeve insert. Since we're first strike shooters, we like to use these amazing little doohickeys called first strike rounds. First strike rounds is a photodegradable plastic round that has a paint in the tip with a breakable tip, and these things are laser beams. Whistling Dixies, cheater rounds, the spicy paintballs. They have many different names that people have grown accustomed to calling them, but they are amazing. You also have here your removable tip. Now, a couple of us have had different tips that we've added to our markers. Mine in particular has been used with a old school version called Dushka, or the Raging Donkey, or the Flaming Pig. I don't come up with these names. These are what people came up with, and they sold their product. These are the names of theirs, and they are meant to be make your marker even louder. And I am one of the ones who loves loud and proud about it. So you can take your Dushka, which is like basically a big cone. You'd see it at the end of like an MG32, right? Or 42, excuse me. And it just is a sound amplifier. They also have different tips that look like breaching kits. Really fun ones that you can get to kind of customize and make it your own. However, in this setting, we just have a smooth barrel here. But one of the barrel kits I wanted to talk about was the Planet Eclipse S60X. The S63 insert by Planet Eclipse has a rifling in there. So if those of you who are familiar with firearms, you'll know that the grooves inside of there that are meant to catch the round and send it on the spiral and give it the twist, right? That is exactly what the insert will do. It's very similar, looks just like this one, except the inside of it isn't going to be smooth. Instead, it's going to have a rifling grooves cut into it. So with this one is a smooth bore. You can still use this one for first strikes, absolutely. However, we have found in our usage that having a rifled insert changes the world when you're really trying to reach out and touch someone, for sure. Definitely, I think Mr. Gator and I can definitely agree. Get you a rifled insert, it will change your whole world.
80 plus yards, baby.
How far was the one where you took out your son when we were playing? How far was that range?
That was an 80-yarder right there.
It definitely has now with a marker like this. You get to be the paintball player you want to be in woods ball. Now, first strike rounds aren't allowed everywhere for every occasion. So make sure before you jump into saying, hey, I want to go and bring my first strike rounds to this event or to this field, make sure you call and check in with the field owners to ensure that. For us at Outdoor Extreme, we allow first strike rounds for specific Magfed only meetups or some of our special big game events. On recreational, we use round ball only. However, the beauty of this marker is that it can use round ball or first strike. This thing is just a cool machine. So as we're going to do, we're going to put this back together. You've cleaned your barrel, you changed out your insert, you put your new tip on there, you're ready to go. So we're going to get this back together in the marker. Remember, everything in this is where people make a lot of big mistakes here, okay? Planet Eclipse makes their barrels, and most of your barrel companies make these barrels where there are two pieces reversed threading, okay? Nothing in paintball ever needs to have the full water boy in at all. In every bit of this stuff, when you're putting things back together, is finger tight, especially when we get to these barrels, because you don't want to accidentally put too much and now you've seized the aluminum threads onto each other, and it is a pain in the butt to get apart, and you can actually ruin your inserts, your barrel. It can add multiple problems to it. So what I tell everyone to do is when you're purchasing a new marker, is you just do this with just your fingertips. You'll be able to see, if you look close, you'll see that as I'm screwing this back together, I'm just using my fingertips, and eventually it stops. Perfect. So I now know when I am taking this apart, if I go this way, the wrong way, with my fingertips, it's not coming loose, I know I can go the other way, and it'll come undone much, much easier. Do not over tighten anything on your markers, period, the end. Cool. Now that that soap opera is done with, or soapbox is done, take your rail, you're gonna slide it back together here. Back again at the top here. Crap. One of the things asking why is your Allen keys in a weird L shape, it's a couple of things. One, the elbow, when you have it down, is so that you can break loose stuff, get it undone, right? However, when you're tightening stuff back down again, you want to have it in the long position so that when you're tightening stuff down, you can feel it cinch and you're not able to get as much torque on it, which can strip Allen keys, can strip the actual Allen key set itself, the screw itself. You start rounding stuff off, you can break stuff. You don't need to put that much torque in it. So that's why they're in the shape of an L. Now that that's put together, one of the cool things I don't think anyone really talks about these Planet Eclipse Allen key set. I was pretty disrespectful to one of my markers, and I had a really hard bolt I just could not get out. In fact, I left it out in the weather and it got rusty. My fault, not Planet Eclipse's fault, my fault. So I found that this actually is a grip. So now you can have the tool to be able to undo your stuff much easier. It's a simple slide that goes right in, user friendly. Once again, Planet Eclipse for the win. All right, so we went over the marker. Now what we're gonna get into the magazine. You can't do no pew if you ain't got no pew-pews, so we will show you how to pew. We have here at Outdoor Extreme Battlefield Orlando, we've got some of the Inception Design mag winders. There's a couple of different companies that are making their own personal mag winders. Some of them are for ambideck, for different types of mags. I feel that this is one of my favorite little cheats, if you will, that speeds up this whole process. With this new magazine, they have a brand new marker with a brand new magazine here. Couple different things though. This marker has the ability to use all 3 magazines. However, there's a couple of things you will need to swap out that do come with your EMF200 parts kit. There's another receiver that's inside of here that is meant to marry on these cuts. And this is a net set and designed for specifically for this magazine, for this marker in its current state. However, if you wanted to use the ones like the Planet Eclipse CF20s that came out that are the straight ones, this one has a curve, you won't be able to get these into the original ones into here without part swapping. So make sure you look over of which magazines you want to use for your tools, okay? So do that research when you're getting into this. However, in this one, we kept this one stock. Wanted to showcase the new stuff. So here has a cleared tray door here. We'll get to that in just a minute. One of these little Inception design winders has a little groove cut. That groove fits right in there, and you're just going to, and inside of there's a little green follower that's going to keep on winding. Maybe you'll be able to see that in the camera. And you continue to wind it up. Oh, lost my spot. And it stopped. Again, no full water boy into any of this. Now that it's wound up, you are now ready to put your paint into your magazine. On the bottom here, this little clear gray tray is going to pop up. Just simply taking 2 thumbs, press up on the side of it, pop it up, pulls up forward, and now you are looking into the bottom of the tray. This here now is where you're going to be able to put into your rounds. It has a little guide on which direction for those of us who forget, who have been hit in the head too many times with paint. It has a guide here to show you which directions the rounds need to be facing. There's a little tab tray, a little edge that comes across the top. You want to make sure when you're once your paint is inside of there, you want to make sure that little latch, that little edge is locked there in place. Press down, your magazine's locked. On the back side here, there's a little button. You'll notice at the time when you wind up all of your mags, this little trap door will be open. You want to make sure that we close this trap door for risk of letting any paint, dirt, debris get inside of your mag. I always recommend storing your mags down. This way, any shrapnel, spray, sand, or whatever you're getting from up top, getting in the game, anything fall, it's not going to get inside of that mag well. By keeping it down and towards you, now it's in a covered pouch. It should be a lot more protected in that setting. So once it pulls out, now what you'll end up hearing is you don't have to slap this thing. Again, this is not a real steel. This is plastics, polymers, metals, okay? It's springs. Very simply, by sliding it in there, it engages the magazine, and all the rounds that are inside of there now are being pressed by the spring and into the breech, ready for firing. As you're shooting, pew, 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 bang, 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 zip, zap, you go to drop your magazine. All of a sudden, you're out, and you're going to hear a tick, 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 tick. What has happened is this little follower has come up to where the bolt is sliding forward, but is getting stuck on this. So it won't hear a dry fire bang, a real loud indicator of, hey, that guy's empty. Now's the time to move on him. So it keeps a lot quieter in that setting. It's got a little groove cut. You'll know exactly where it goes. That is about it. Ultimately, when you're getting into this marker, this is definitely one that is, if you are a Magfed player, you want one of the most reliable markers on the market. This is it. This Planet Eclipse is guaranteed going to keep on working with you, and if anything does go wrong, there are lots of videos like the one we've done, as well as by Planet Eclipse as well, on how to maintenance take care of your stuff and keeping your equipment running smoothly. Any alterations that you guys will see online of people doing their own creations and stuff, you got to be careful. You got to be careful when you start moving into that realm, because that then now where you could be ruining the integrity and as well as your what do they call that fancy thing? Warranty. So make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing. This one happens to be number 57. Serial numbers right there. This is one of the ones under 100. I think it'd be pretty cool. I need to take a look at which one I have. What do you think, Gator? You going to get one yourself?
I don't know, dude.
You got too many toys already?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a fair enough.
I got two 100s, so...
Well, I like toys. I have too many toys. I didn't have a lot of toys. Now I got a lot of toys. This has been Dezi and Mr. Gator with OX Files, where the truth is out there in the field. This is the EMF200. Make sure you guys contact your local dealer to get you one, and or come over. Make sure you guys come and support your local fields. Come and talk to them if you want to look at this equipment, you want to put it in your hands. We have plenty of VIP membership deals if you wanted to pick up one of these markers for yourself or any of our paintball markers. We've got something in store for you. Thank you guys. Have a great night.